YouTube has been a big part of my life for quite some time, and obviously the biggest part about that are the YouTubers themselves. Yeah, we're talking about YouTubers. Let's get the obvious out of the way. This video was inspired by jacksepticeye Let's Play videos, but before you say I stole the idea, one, I'm not really going to be talking about any of the YouTubers he talked about, and two, I'm the fucking Shucks video guy, so my videos are automatically better, so yeah. A lot of YouTubers I watch fall into certain categories, so instead of being sloppy about this, even though I like it sloppy, we're going to be going category by category, so Taco! In order to determine what category of games YouTubers fall under, we first have to establish a few of them, so let's talk about Garry's mod. Gmod was a pretty big part of my childhood like most Gen Zers, and no other YouTuber in this space was more influential on me than one of the original pillars of the YouTube Gmod community, that YouTuber being Venturiantale. Venturian was something to behold back in the day. While they weren't super popular, only having around 2 million subscribers, they were quite the important pillar of the Gmod community. To me personally, Venturian feels like the embodiment of that time period where you could just have fun on YouTube. The premise of the channel was quite simple, being 4 siblings playing with each other, going on wacky adventures and getting into crazy situations, then hijinks ensues. It was always entertaining seeing how the siblings would react to the chaotic situations that they would get themselves into every video. It's what kept the videos fresh and what kept me and so many others coming back. Venturian even held the position of my favorite YouTuber for years. I truly did find these 4 goobers very entertaining, but over time they kind of started to lose the punch, what made them rewatchable. It was around 2018 where I feel like the downfall of the channel really started to begin. Before this time period, Venturian had just always done their own thing. They made Gmod videos about whatever, whether it be a new map or mod or just a random scenario. Each of the videos felt like it was naturally made out of a play session of Garry's mod. That feeling over time slowly decayed. Their videos started focusing on what was popular at the time, whether it be memes or trends. The videos started to lose their casual feeling more and more, and started to feel like they were made to make profit, to follow a trend. This all accumulated into one event, that being the Ugandan Knuckles trend arc. This is where a lot of Venturian's original fans just got up and left, which then led to one of the most infamous Venturian videos called I Need to Be Honest With You Guys. The video starts off with what seems to be an apology of sorts, only for the rug to be pulled out from underneath you and surprise they're on Ugandan island. At this point, the channel's quality deteriorated even further. While sure they still uploaded a few entertaining videos, it was far from the early days, and eventually I kinda tuned out altogether. Then drama happened or some shit, or whatever, I don't care about that. So hey, did you know that FNAF and Garry's mod had a very strong symbiotic relationship in the mid to late 2010s? Back in 2014 to 2018, FNAF had an inescapable presence in the Gmod community, and of course Venturian was, if not the biggest Gmod YouTuber to adapt the FNAF trend. Sure, other YouTubers like Vanoss Gaming produced a few videos branching the Five Nights franchise, but Venturian was definitely the MVP in that category, even still posting FNAF content in the months leading up to his departure. In fact, Venturian was my first exposure to Garry's mod in general, and is what got me into FNAF. The day I discovered their first FNAF Gmod video was also the day I found out about the fucking game theorist with that shit fucking video. While I have Venturian to thank for my interest in the FNAF games, they weren't the most prolific to my FNAF Garry's mod experience. That title would go to Tony TCTN. Tony was a pretty unknown channel, only having around 1 million subscribers, but they were definitely pretty big in the Gmod community, racking up millions of views with their countless series in Garry's mod, like my favorite, the I Killed series. But of course, his most popular videos are what else but FNAF related. Sure, Venturian had far more videos covering FNAF and Gmod, but Tony's videos were far more memorable. Sure, I did watch all of Venturian's FNAF videos, but they definitely weren't as entertaining as Tony's were. But to be honest, I think Tony's FNAF videos are probably the least interesting videos that he's made on his channel, and that's not a bad thing. It's just that I don't really like FNAF anymore, if it wasn't obvious enough, and his other videos are just far better, whether it be his Gmod videos or other games like GTA 5 or Happy Wheels. Tony reminds me a lot of D-Live. They both have a great personality and very entertaining videos. However, unlike D-Live, Tony's personality worked a lot better with the many schizophrenics that would join him on his adventures. Tony's videos also have the same vibe as Venturian's, only just not as coked up. Like, sure, Tony and his friends would still scream at random shit, but hey, what YouTuber didn't? It was part of the game back then. However, unlike Venturian, Tony never really screamed just for the sake of screaming into a dollar store microphone. But what I mean by Tony's videos having the same vibe as Venturian's is in the sense that Tony's videos were just Tony and his friends getting into wacky and unpredictable situations. This aspect shined a lot more on Tony's channel than it did on Venturiantale's because it never got boring, simply due to how different each of the scenarios were. Like, in one video he'll go from killing a bunch of suicide Squidwards in an abandoned building, to killing Donald Trump with a fucking giant buzzsaw, i.e. Shucks style, to trying not to be brutally torn apart by a killer SpongeBob, and even fighting Titan-sized FNAF animatronics. Each of Tony's videos always had something new, fun, and unique to keep them fresh. I think one of the better parts about Tony's channel was the fact that, unlike other channels like Venturian, Tony's content is still very watchable today. It hasn't really aged that much compared to Venturian's older videos that are impossible to watch now because of how fucking annoying they are. Tony's videos are still as entertaining as they were in 2014. I hope Tony's doing well wherever he is. But if you're looking for someone who is truly unique, something that's completely different from everyone, something that was almost completely different from what everyone else was doing, then look no further than Glich'e Gaming.
Hey ladies and gentlemen, guys and gals, Glich'e here yet again with another video. Today we'll be playing more Garry's mod, and today I have some new mods.
Glich'e Gaming was unlike every other Gmod YouTuber besides the fact that he was like 13 when he made these videos, but also because, unlike a lot of other Gmod YouTubers, Glich'e had no structure to his videos at all. There was no stories, it was just him looking at a bunch of random mods. Glich'e's videos, much like the others, had that vibe of getting into wacky and unpredictable situations, only weirder, much weirder, and much more random.
Yo, Pikachu. I heard there's a lot of meat in you. That also rhymes. Let's get fucked, Pikachu!
So much weirder. If Venturian was the Gmod YouTuber I watched the most, and Tony was the one that entertained me the most, Glich'e was the one without a doubt the funniest. These videos have aged wonderfully, and I mean that in a good way. Glich'e never had a story like the others. He just got into random hijinks, and because every video he would look at a bunch of different mods, it was always something to come back to, just to see what mod he would be trying out. One of the funniest things about these videos is the fact that growing up, a lot of these jokes he made would fly way over my head.
Oh, look, nothing out of the ordinary, just, you know, dildo men, all green and stuff because they've gotten that weed. You know, smoke weed every day, you know, right? Yeah, Dolly Ho? Yeah, you teach all those kids. Oh, they call you Dolly. Oh. So what happened to the hoe? Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, my God. Oh! Oh! Oh, no! God, no, please!
It's kind of hard to explain these videos because it's really just a bunch of random things happening all at once. All these videos were a young teen posting his random Gmod session, and in a way, that's what made them entertaining to watch. There was very little planning, there was no labyrinth scenarios, there was no story, just a kid playing Gmod. While the Gmod videos Glich'e made were the ones I watched the most, his non-Gmod videos were also very entertaining as well. More specifically, his horror game Let's Plays, like the EXE games and FNAF fan games, which, trust me, we will talk about FNAF YouTubers later on. Anyways, Glich'e Gaming is a really entertaining motherfucker. Cool. Before we end this section off, I want to talk about one more YouTuber, that being XX Pro Class Gamer XX. I don't have much to say about this guy. He made a few FNAF Gmod videos that I really liked when I was younger. He also made a comeback after 10 years. He's a pretty underrated YouTube I enjoyed, and I wanted to mention him here. See, this is nothing like Chazington's video. Speaking of Chazington, I am convinced that Chaz is my evil clone. Like, you're telling me this Afro Puff, fruity sunglass wearing, SML watching, toy chica chitty talking, Shima simping motherfucker just so happened to watch all the things I did when I was growing up? Nah, I don't believe that shit. I'll give him SML because I didn't watch that shit very often, but everything else, nah, that's too suspicious. Like, he just so happened to watch Smash Bit, Random Encounters, Zack Games, Charmix, Cute Mario Bros, which in the video he says he didn't watch it when he was younger or something like that, which means Blood is not an OG. He does not have OG status. He is a sham, and furthermore, he also grew up watching Planet Dolan. Now, that's going too far. See, I know this is the government. The government is after me. See, I know Chaz is a government plant, a clone trying to trick me. See, I know this because no one has ever watched Planet Dolan before me. When I watched Planet Dolan when I was growing up, that motherfucker had one viewer and one subscriber, which was me, and no one else. Then Chaz comes along and boom, look at this. Coincidence? I think not. Chaz is a government-deployed evil clone who only exists to mock me, constantly taunting me of what I am owed, what I deserve, what... It should be me!
It should have been me, not him! It's not fair!
Jokes aside, I didn't mean to bring up Chaz this much. It's just that watching his videos made me realize that these YouTubers I grew up watching were a part of a lot of other childhoods, and something about that really makes me feel very sonder. Oh well. Minecraft, like a lot of people my age, was something I grew up watching and playing. Minecraft was arguably the game I consumed the most content on, because quite frankly, it was inescapable, and just like many people my age at the time, I had my own set of YouTubers that I would exclusively watch, starting with...
Hey everyone! Dan here from the Diamond Minecraft.
I think this one was obvious. dantdm was one of the most popular Minecraft YouTubers back in the golden age of Minecraft content on YouTube. Dan was always the safe bet to go with. His videos were fun, they were very entertaining, and they're still very nostalgic to go back and watch. Dan was the gold standard of Minecraft content back in the day. He hits basically all the hallmarks. A modded survival, mod showcases, horror maps, etc. But he was also British, so fuck him.
In that inferior country that is England, am I right?
Dan was/is one of the most nostalgic YouTubers for me personally. I distinctly remember watching all his old mod showcases during the summer of 2014 and 2015. Watching his Minecraft horror map videos during Halloween each year, watching his Christmas countdowns every year. Dan was simply always a safe bet. His videos were always simple and entertaining. It was even better that we could watch him around our parents as he never swore. Well, kinda. I find it really funny when Minecraft YouTubers swear because it's so unexpected coming from them. And not to sound like this guy.
5 Minecraft YouTubers who've sworn.
But hearing dantdm yell,
You fucking bitch! Ah!
it cracks me up to this day. Especially hearing him swear in the modern era. It is just way too funny to me.
Just saying.
Dan gets it twice in a row, Dan 3 times.
Hey!
I'm sorry, I just can't help but laugh at this shit. It's even funnier when people get upset about this, like, oh no, a grown man swore. Sounds like my mother. Honestly, hearing Minecraft YouTubers swear is more funny than anything. It's really not that much of a problem unless it's this clip.
Nigga, you ain't
So this was recorded after the fact. Rewatching this video, my favorite part about it is the fact that fucking there's no hesitation when he says it. The real one came out. The real popularmmos has emerged. Honestly, I think the funniest part about this clip is the fact that I'm pretty sure on Twitter he said he thought it meant friend or some shit. But like, come on, he's a grown man from Florida, no less, and you're telling me he doesn't know what the N-word means? popularmmos is the bad guy? There was also that one unedited footage of popularmmos a while back, and I really don't know how to feel about it. It just kind of gives off this impression that Pat and Jen were wearing a mask when making these videos, but obviously that's not the case. It's clear that they're just both trying to conserve energy, because I would imagine making videos where you sound like you're coked up and you just drank a 6-pack of Monster would get physically and emotionally taxing, so yeah. Oh yeah, I guess we're talking about popularmmos now. popularmmos, like Dan, is someone who needs no introduction, especially in recent. In light of that, I want to mention the fact that I'm not really going to be talking about the recent adventures that Pat got himself into. Mostly because I don't care and it doesn't fit the topic at hand. Speaking of which, popularmmos was the Minecraft YouTuber I watched the most by far. They were my YouTuber. My brother mostly watched dantdm, but for me it was popularmmos all day. I don't think this needs to be said, but easily the best part about popularmmos' videos was the dynamic of Pat and Jen. It gave each of the videos an energy that you couldn't really find with any other Minecraft YouTuber at the time, or hell, even now. It was clear that they really enjoy each other's company, until they didn't. I think out of all the Minecraft YouTubers I watched, popularmmos definitely had the most interesting series. We had bangers like Epic Proportions, Notchland, Mob Battles, the parkour maps, mods versus maps, the crafting dev, the challenge games, the trolling games, the explosive challenge games, the hunger games. Okay, we get it, Pat. You like games, especially when they involve alcohol and ruining your life. Actually, that might be in poor taste. My bad, I forgot. Pat hates games. Last time he went to one, he got arrested. I know I shouldn't hate on him too much. After all, popularmmos is my idol, bro. Mostly because he's a criminal, and I'm all about that crime lifeblood. All he needs to do is murder someone now, then we can be tighter than bark on a tree. I really hope this video doesn't age like milk. You may be asking me, why am I so harsh on Pat? But Pat's like that drunk uncle that you hope gets better, but never does. They never do anything but disappoint you. Eventually, Pat and Jen broke up, and that was kind of it for me. I already barely watched them around this point, and as awful as this may sound, one of the biggest reasons people watch popularmmos popularmmos was for both Pat and Jen. After the breakup, their videos weren't the same at all. They still played together, but it was clear that they weren't really enjoying themselves, as if they were uncomfortable around each other. I don't know, it ruined the whole vibe of the videos, and I wasn't really a fan of the content around the time, so I made up my mind and stopped watching them altogether. popularmmos was one of those YouTubers I really enjoyed watching as a kid, and really don't like watching as an adult. Just like with Venturiantale, I find them obnoxious as fuck. As I grow, I really hate the screaming equals funny trope most YouTubers in the 2010s had. While Dan screamed from time to time, it was a fucking dumbass monster can. While Dan screamed from time to time, it was obnoxious and blew out the viewers' eardrums. Although, there was one Minecraft YouTuber who was semi-free of this annoying recurrence. Samgladiator was a Minecraft YouTuber that I watched for 2 series alone, that being the FNAF and Minecraft series, and Yandere High School / Tokyo Soul. I loved these 2 series. I don't have much to say about Sam himself, he was a pretty average Minecraft YouTuber, but these 2 series that he made were just something else. I don't want to go too in-depth with these 2 because I could honestly make a video about themselves, which I want to do honestly, so if you're interested in that, let me know. Anyway, these 2 series are super nostalgic to me personally. I definitely watched the FNAF series more than the Yandere High one, but I have fonder memories of the latter. I distinctly remember waking up on the first day of school of every year and watching the first episode as I was getting ready, and the night prior I would watch his FNAF series. I generally think the Yandere High series is such an incredible piece of YouTube media, and is generally well done. While I don't have time to do it because, well, I don't know, I'm doing other things like not watching peak media, I definitely want to go sit down and binge watch the entire series again because it definitely deserves the attention, because it's really good, and if you haven't watched it somehow, I recommend you go out of your way to do so. Although there is like 200 episodes, I think it's worth the time. The FNAF series, on the other hand, is still enjoyable, but I think it's less worth your time. While it's still a really fun series to watch, after a while it does get a little repetitive. I do like the effort they put into each of the maps, they look really well done. I also like how every time a new game would come out, they would change the map until they ended up with this one, which is very iconic to me. Again, I don't have much to say about Sam himself, but the 2 series he's made are really fun to watch. Outside of those 2, I didn't really watch any of his other content, maybe his Who's Your Daddy series, but again, these 2 series were the only real things I constantly came back to. Speaking of Who's Your Daddy, which is coincidentally enough a perfect transition into our next YouTuber, the atlanticcraft is probably one of the lesser known Minecraft YouTubers I'm going to be talking about today. Not completely unknown, but not really as well known as Dan or popularmmos. They're only really well known for one series, the Minecraft Who's Your Daddy series, which is admittedly pretty batshit insane. Other than that, all they're really known for is these weird animations they used to make, which sure do have hundreds of millions of views, but still their most popular non-animation is the Who's Your Daddy video. I remember watching these videos quite a lot when I was younger, but I didn't really have too many fond memories about this channel. I did enjoy the Who's Your Daddy and Minecraft series, but again, a pretty nothing Minecraft YouTuber for me personally. I honestly just wanted to bring them up because I did watch the Who's Your Daddy series quite a bit and it was entertaining enough. And before we move on to the next section, we have one more YouTuber that I'm going to quickly run by because again, I don't really have that much to say about them. That being xboxaddictionz. Trolling videos were pretty popular on YouTube in the early days, and xboxaddictionz kinda embodies that. They're most well known for bullying children on Minecraft, which is the only real way of describing these videos. A lot of them were very mean-spirited and had actual children start crying on camera, which, to be fair, is quite funny. But honestly, the worst part about these videos is just how awful, like, every person involved's mics were. To the point where watching these videos for even a few minutes, you'll start to feel the vibrations from the microphone go down your fucking spine. Watching these videos nowadays, I can't tell if they're scripted or not. Some of them sound scripted, some of them just don't. Like, in some of these videos, it sounds like an obvious attempt at making some sort of viral video, while other times it generally sounds like he's fucking bullying random children on the internet in Minecraft. But honestly, I think most of them are scripted to a certain extent, if not entirely. But who can really say? And with that, we come to the end of the Minecraft section. Fucking finally. How long was left this video? Now, this wouldn't be a true look at classic Let's Players if there wasn't a section about FNAF YouTubers. I want to keep this section relatively short because FNAF, without a doubt, was the game I watched the most YouTubers play. For Minecraft, I watched like 5 YouTubers play, but FNAF, I can't even remember how many. However, because of that fact, I think it'd be less interesting to talk about YouTubers who play the actual official FNAF games, because, I'll be honest, I didn't watch many play the original FNAF games. These YouTubers more specifically played FNAF fan games, with the exception of a few of them, which I'll save until much later because I think we all know who I'm referring to. Let's start with a fairly unknown one. T.E.A.D Gaming is a very interesting channel to me. He's a pretty underrated FNAF YouTuber who plays, well, mostly FNAF fan games, with his most well-known series being the Five Nights at Wario series and the Five Nights at Sonic series, which, let me tell you, is a fucking thing to be known for. I do remember watching T.E.A.D Gaming quite a bit, and I did enjoy his content, specifically his Five Nights at Wario's and Five Nights at Sonic series. I guess, obviously, as I just said, what he was most well-known for, but he really didn't stand out that much from the rest of the other YouTubers who were making videos about FNAF fan games. He was Canadian and a bit older, which I don't mean as an insult because, again, I did quite enjoy watching his videos. But other than that, I don't really have much to say about him. Like, yeah, he's Canadian, he sounds funny, but he's a jolly man, leave him alone. I do have some respect for him because he still continues uploading FNAF fan games to this day non-stop, and while his viewership has fallen off quite a bit, he's still very dedicated to the grind. Again, not too much to say about him. I just wanted to bring him up because he's a YouTuber I watched a lot. Specifically, he's Five Nights at Sonic's World Let's Play, which is a weird fucking sentence to say, which I guess goes for the next YouTuber we're going to be talking about as well. Not the weird sentence part, the watching a lot but not having much to say thing. xboxaddictionz is probably the first YouTuber that I watched that would play FNAF fan games extensively. Like, every time a new FNAF fan game would come out, you can guarantee that xboxaddictionz was going to play that shit. And he always had these distinct thumbnails that were pretty appeasing to a younger me. They drew me in like a moth to a flame. I remember sitting around on my 3DS just watching xboxaddictionz's FNAF fan game videos, specifically the fan-made FNAF 3 game by fucking BFP Films. I remember also watching a bunch of the more obscure FNAF fan games he would play, games that other YouTubers like T.E.A.D Gaming and fucking 8-Bit Theater wouldn't dare play, like Five Nights at Thomas, Five Nights at the Illuminati's, Five Nights at Frozen, Springtrap, The Return, Five Golden Nights at Freddy's, you know, the classic no-names. That was xboxaddictionz's territory. No one touched that territory. It was his and his specifically. Well, maybe besides Yami Mask, but we all know what happened to him. That's what happens when you interfere on xboxaddictionz's turf. Bad shit happens. On a real note, these videos are super nostalgic to look back on. More so probably than anything I've talked about so far. I don't know what it is about these videos that made me have such fond memories about them, but looking at the thumbnails and seeing the 11 years ago under them, I don't know what it is. It just reminds me of a time where my life wasn't a page out of a Harlan Ellison book. Also, he noticed me in the live stream, so that's cool.
Dominique TKC. Bro, just rewatching your old videos and then you appear. I knew you were watching the old videos. I knew it. That's why I went live, Dominique.
500 cigarettes.
Again, I don't have too much to say about xboxaddictionz, a very nostalgic YouTuber, but overall, nothing too special. The videos were just very nostalgic to me, and that's the main reason why I brought him up. Also, hearing this intro again did something to me, dog. Heavenly. Now, you may have noticed that the last two YouTubers I talk about were pretty short. I talked about them for like a minute or two, and that's because I was saving this section up for the main event, the big boy if you will, and no other YouTuber matched that description in the FNAF space more than fucking Markiplier. Where do I begin with Mark? It's no secret to anyone watching this video that Markiplier was the main influential YouTuber to ever pick up FNAF, being one of, if not the main reason why it blew up. Well, I've heard a lot of people say online that FNAF would have probably blown up either way. No, I don't agree with that sentiment because, again, FNAF gameplay is boring as fuck, and the most entertaining aspect about any Let's Play of the game is the YouTubers themselves and not the actual fucking game. And I think Markiplier definitely fits that description. This part of the video isn't just about Mark. I'm probably going to be talking about Jack, Wade, and Bob as well, because honestly, they're 4 peas in a pod. Yes, I know that's not how the saying goes, but fuck off. Well, I could easily talk about these YouTubers separately. I think they all go together pretty well. Maybe because they collab with each other very often, and whatever. These were without a doubt the YouTubers most people watching this video will know, like, duh. But just like the 30 million other people who are subscribed to both Jack and Mark, they were a big part of my childhood. I'd say I watched Jack quite a bit more than Mark, and to be honest, I didn't really watch Markiplier unless he was playing one of those really bad indie horror games, which, if you're wondering, yes, I do include FNAF in that category, so fuck you. While Jack, on the other hand, I watched his more random one-off indie games like Muddy Heights, Where's My Hammer, Garbage Day, those Operation Now videos, the Whack-Ya series, and Christmas Shopper Simulator, both 1 and 2. That's not to say I didn't watch Markiplier's one-off random videos like the Trouble in Terrorist Town series, but I always did enjoy his horror content a lot more than his, let's just say, quote-unquote normal content, like his Gmod horror maps, or again, some random indie horror game he would play, like Bad Dream or Don't Escape. Same thing with Wade. I didn't really watch Wade unless he was with some other YouTuber that I was familiar with, or playing some indie horror game like Boogeyman or The Rake. Again, like Mark, I did watch some of his other videos like his numerous Gmod series. Bob, however, I never watched at all. In fact, I never actually clicked on any of his videos. The only time I would watch any content with Bob in it would be when he was collaborating with other YouTubers, primarily Mark or Wade. I don't know why, but Bob never really interested me that much. And no offense against the guy, but like compared to Mark or Jack, he's not really that entertaining. Again, no offense against the guy. I just didn't watch him as much as Jack or Mark, or at all, I guess, or whatever. These were the guys that everyone watched in the 2010s, while Bob or Wade were nowhere near as popular as Mark or Jack. They collaborated enough to the point where if you watch any of Mark's multiplayer game Let's Plays, you definitely know who Bob and Wade are. I would say Mark and Jack are like the Coca-Cola of YouTube. Not a bad choice, but definitely not the best either. That's not me hating on the two. I do really like Mark and Jack, mainly because how they look, because damn, hubba hubba. But over time, I find their content rather stale. It's very rare that I actually watch either or. Again, I don't dislike their content, but there's way better choices out there. But they're still a pretty big part of my childhood, so I guess there's that. Honestly, that's all I really have to say about the FNAF section. While FNAF was one of the biggest games to have an impact on my life, the YouTubers weren't that big of a part. Well, sure, I still watched a lot of them. I didn't really watch FNAF content like that. It was either FNAF fan games or with other games like Minecraft. What's even weirder is that there was a time period where my parents banned us from watching anything FNAF related because they unironically thought FNAF was based on real events. No, I'm not fucking joking. They thought FNAF was real! Bro, what the fuck, dude? That's why I hate looking into my parents' eyes, because I can see their empty heads and I can't say anything about it as much as I want to. While this section may have seemed shorter than others, that's because I don't really have much to say about FNAF itself, because 1, it's bad, and 2, because I don't watch it like the others. So it's about time we end this section, huh? Before we end this video off, I'm going to rapid fire off some YouTubers who don't really fit into any categories. A few quickies, if you will. That's such an awful fucking name, dude. Let's start off by talking about some more general Let's Players, which is probably not the right word for it, but oh well. Let's start this section off by talking about one of the most influential YouTubers that I watched growing up, D-Live. D-Live, otherwise known as D-Live22891, is a YouTuber who's been posting content on YouTube for about 14 years, accumulating over 1 million subscribers, and is a YouTuber that no doubt I watched lots of. Probably in my top 5 of most watched YouTubers. D-Live was a fairly average gaming YouTuber, but there was something so alluring about the videos he made that made me keep coming back to them, a charm that kept me glued to my TV screen. Be it the personality, the people he often played with, or just the countless funny moments, D-Live was just a really fun time all around. I discovered D-Live around his FNAF 2 playthrough, but really got into the channel around his FNAF 3 playthrough, which I'm pretty sure D-Live's FNAF 3 playthrough was my first exposure to FNAF 3 after months of hype. D-Live was a channel that I watched lots of. While he was most known for his FNAF videos, I more enjoyed the random flash games and horror games that he would play. But he didn't just limit himself to playing indie games, he also had series on games like Little Big Planet 3. While D-Live by himself was quite entertaining, I think his videos were amplified when he brought along the other YouTubers that he frequently collabed with, like At the Win the Pack, the RPG Minx, JP, Lord Minion 77, and a few others. The vibe of these videos were unlike anything else I had really watched on YouTube before. before and even now. I think these videos embody the charm of early 2010s YouTube. Just a bunch of friends fucking around in whatever goofy game they can find. Going back and watching these videos even nowadays, they still hold up surprisingly well, which I know is a weird thing to say, but for me personally, watching old YouTubers that I watched growing up is kind of difficult because, oh man, have these channels not aged well. To be honest, D-Live didn't do anything too special or make content that broke the mold. He played the same games that everyone else did, but his personality alone paired with the people he played with definitely made him a lot more memorable and worth rewatching more than others, even compared to the juggernauts that he sometimes collabed with, like Jack and Mark. I don't hate Jack and Mark, I just don't like their content. It's like the Coca-Cola of gaming on YouTube, not a bad choice. Just, there's so many better options. You can't go wrong picking it, but it's not the first choice. Anyway, D-Life was a very good channel and a very fun watch. I hope he's doing well. Going back a little bit, I talked about some other YouTubers that D-Life would collaborate with quite a bit. While I didn't watch them alone by themselves, they did add quite a lot to D-Live's videos, and I do believe they deserve a little bit of the spotlight too. The YouTuber that D-Live collabed with the most was definitely Etherwin the Pack. Etherwin was pretty interesting. He definitely played off of D-Live pretty well. If there was a multiplayer game that D-Live played, Etherwin was almost guaranteed to be there as well. Etherwin still uploads to this day, which is pretty cool. Some of the other YouTubers he collabed with frequently were more in his early days, like the RPG Minx and Z Royal Viking. And when I mean early days, I mean like 11 years ago. After some time, these YouTubers stopped appearing as much until eventually completely disappearing altogether from his videos. They were most prevalent in his old Gmod videos like Trouble in Terrace Town, Prop Hunt, and Murder. I don't want to seem like I'm glazing D-Live and pushing the others aside, but D-Live definitely was the one who brought this wacky group together. I don't know if that's actually true, but you know, that's not what I meant. To me, he was the glue that held the videos together. Again, I like the others, but D-Live to me was infinitely more entertaining. Again, the others were still entertaining, but when it boils down, D-Live was my preferred member. Another YouTuber that would fall into the category of playing random games with and without friends would be Messyourself. If I had to describe Messyourself in one word, it would be chaotic. Messyourself was a YouTuber that I watched a lot less of compared to everyone else I mentioned previously, but I got a lot more enjoyment out of. Messyourself was just plain entertaining. It was very rare to find a video by Messyourself that wasn't entertaining in some way, shape, or form, whether it be him playing a bunch of wacky multiplayer games with his friends like Who's Your Daddy, Granny Simulator, Gang Beast, Bad Guys at School, or just playing games by himself like doing wacky shit in the new WWE games, or playing through the entirety of GTA 5. He also did a lot of reaction content, which I enjoyed, obviously, because unlike the other YouTubers who did Let's Plays and also reaction content at the same time, Brandon's personality was very good. He actually added something to the content he was reacting to. The way I found out about Messyourself is actually pretty fucking weird. The first video I watched by Brandon was the fucking Crap Woman video, where he plays both Crap Woman and Duty Man, which were games made by the same person who did the Wackier series, I'm pretty sure. This is generally an unhinged video, but at the same time, it was definitely one of the funniest videos I ever watched, and even looking back on it now, it's still pretty fucking funny. I find toilet humor really fucking dumb, but his reactions to what's happening on screen are funnier than anything that's, you know, actually happening. I would show you the video, but it's generally fucking awful to look at, so I'd rather not. That was something that was really funny about Messyourself's videos, the over-the-top reactions that were actual, like, genuine reactions. He didn't oversell to just oversell things. If he oversold it, it's because that's just how he reacted to shit.
What the bloody shit is that? What?
Some of these fucking reactions still get me to this day. I still really enjoy these videos, and I frequently still watch Messyourself's content. Unfortunately, now he barely seems to upload anymore, so I hope whatever Brandon's doing, he's doing good. Easily a top tier YouTuber. I was just talking about how Brandon never really oversold his reactions just to oversell them. He didn't react over the top just to react. He did it because that's how he reacted to stuff. A YouTuber who doesn't fall under that category would be the 8-Bit Theater. When I say these fuckers overreacted to high hell, it would be the colossal understatement of the century, but in all fairness to 9-year-old me, they were quite funny. I realize now the 8-Bit Theater might be one of the most underrated channels that I've featured so far. I doubt many people watching this video actually remember or even know who the 8-Bit Theater are, because again, they didn't really have that big of a presence. They just uploaded for so long that they just accumulated a million subs. The 8-Bit Theater was a channel ran by a father and son duo who would play random games together, whether it be mobile games or PC games, whatever. with the most popular series on the channel by far being the Gang Beasts series. With well over 2,600 uploads, Jesus fucking Christ, dude. This was a series me and my brother definitely watched the most. While it wasn't the only one we watched, we did watch a lot of the Happy Whales and Turbo Discount videos. The Gang Beast one is definitely what put them on the map, because again, 2,600 fucking videos on one game is fucking nuts. They were definitely one of the reasons on why Gang Beasts got so popular, because again, 2,600 videos. I think the YouTube trope of family channels are typically annoying or awful. I find gaming family channels kinda endearing. Well, I don't watch them often or at all, but I don't know, looking back on the 8-bit theater is strange to me because they were just kinda chill, which most family channels aren't, to the surprise of no one. But yeah, the 8-bit theater is chill. The relationship that Kyle and his father have is nice, although it did take me a while to figure out the fact that they were father and son, as they have such a buddy-buddy relationship, because they talk to each other like they're friends. If you've watched them for any extended period of time, you'll know exactly what I mean. I'm not dogging on them or anything, but I just find it kind of funny. What's even funnier to me personally is the fact that they still upload to this day. Well, at least Kyle's father does. And no joke, they average like 100 views per video. A cosmic fucking fall off that even rivals the likes of Guava Juice. The 8-bit theater very much was a product of the time, just the father and son posting their random gaming sessions, and just getting views off of it. They never really chased trends, they only played multiplayer games like the new 2K WWE games, and again, Gang Beasts. And when they did play single player games, they would typically take turns like in Happy Whales or Turbo Dismount. I look back on the 8-bit theater with a certain amount of fondness, as I wasn't the only one who watched them. My older brother was also into them, so that was nice. A few minutes ago, I mentioned the fact that the 8-bit theater might be one of the most obscure channels I talk about in this video, but how about we talk about the absolute, without a doubt, most obscure channel in this video. So obscure that they don't even have 40k subs. Spicy Waffles, otherwise known as Waffle Bros, is a very obscure channel that I used to watch with my brother quite a bit. Nowhere near the amount of the others I talked about, but still enough to bring them up. I only watched them for one series, that being Paint the Town Red. I really haven't watched any other videos by them. The only reason why me and my brother even enjoyed watching them is because they were funny, and they were only funny because they swore in like every sentence, enough to even make me look like a fucking saint. Again, I only watched the Paint the Town Red videos because I really like Paint the Town Red. It's my favorite game of all time, don't fucking at me. Looking back on these videos, they weren't really anything special. I just like the chaotic energy these two have. Also, they have really weird names like Corin and Uko. I really like these two. You should go support them. I think it's worth your time. During the duration of this video, you may have noticed something of a trend among these YouTubers I've talked about, and that's that they've all been men. And that's for a very good reason. I was very sexist as a kid, mainly because when I did watch female YouTubers, my mother would make a big deal about it, like when you tell your mother one of your friends is female. Except I never experienced that because I'm very gay and my mother knows that. But I kind of lied a bit about that, not the mom thing, the only watching male YouTubers thing. I did watch one female YouTuber, and that was ihascupquake. Cupquake was definitely an interesting YouTuber that still uploads to this day, besides having the distinction of being the only female YouTuber that I actually watched, if you're not counting Jen from popularmmos. I watched Cupquake for her videos of the more obscure games that you wouldn't see other YouTubers play. Of course, she did play other games that the others did as well, like I Am Bread, Gang Beast, Turbo Dismount, and the FNAF titles, but she also played games like Citizen Burger Disorder, which, let me tell you, is a fucking rabbit hole and a half. That old Goosebumps mobile game, and Star Wheels. Games that didn't really get recognized on YouTube. It was even more entertaining when she brought on her husband Red to play these games. I have such fond memories of these two playing the most absolutely random multiplayer games I could find. Dog, if you remember the wife versus husband series she used to do on a channel, then you're old as fuck. Just like me. God, just rewatching the old Gang Beast videos she used to make with Red is enough to make me tear up. I hold these videos in such high regard, and as bad as this may sound, I enjoyed her content because she was a woman. As such, she had different experiences when playing each of the games that the mostly male YouTubers would play. I don't know, it was an interesting perspective. But just like every YouTuber that I grew up watching, I stopped watching her quite a bit ago. I enjoyed the animations, the wife versus husband, and all the wacky content she made, but after a while, just like everyone else, I grew bored of it. It's very rare that I go back and watch any of the YouTubers that I grew up watching, with the handful of a few exceptions that I got close to me. And one of those YouTubers is going to be the ending of the video. Before we can end this video off truly, I want to talk about just one more YouTuber. A YouTuber that I enjoyed far more than any of the other losers I've talked about. A YouTuber so entertaining, so funny that I've continued to watch him to this day, 8 years later, after I discovered his content. A YouTuber that I can positively say without a doubt is my favorite YouTuber of all time. That YouTuber being...
What's up, guys, and welcome back to Paint the Town Red.
Captainsauce is peak YouTube. Forget your jacksepticeye and your marker big titty mans. Take them and shove them up your ass, because we got the funny Canadian man who sometimes dresses as a turkey and threatens you with a gun. Captainsauce has been my favorite YouTube for quite some time, and for a very good reason. He's entertaining, he's funny, he's quite handsome, and he's Canadian. Wow, those two perfectly fit my IRL boyfriend. Damn. Going back to the topic at hand, Captainsauce embodies a lot of what makes the other YouTubers fun to watch. He's probably most well known for playing pretty obscure games or just playing random games in general. He tends to steer away from more popular titles. He's not going to play games like Resident Evil. No, he's going to play Toilet Chronicles. He's not playing VR games like Half-Life Alyx. He's playing Please Don't Touch Anything in VR. There's no filthy popular games like Fortnite. There's the GOAT Paint the Town Red. Captainsauce is a wild fucking name. Captainsauce I would categorize under the comfort YouTuber. His videos are chilled, he does next to no screaming at all, even with horror games, which he rarely plays. His jokes are actually funny, unlike the average YouTuber. Don't fucking say anything or I will kill myself, and it'll be your fault. And hers too. Unlike what a lot of other YouTubers, when Captainsauce plays a game, it actually feels like he transforms and adds something onto the game. He adds something irreplaceable, unlike with a bunch of other YouTubers who say the same boring dog shit. He also never really plays with anyone else, which in my opinion is a good thing, because no offense or anything to anyone he's played with if he's even done that at all, but you're not going to be able to top Captainsauce in a Captainsauce video. You just can't out Pizza the Hut. It's a cosmic thing you don't fuck around with. Can you tell that I'm running out of ways to talk about YouTubers? Because I sure can. I'm gonna wrap this up real quick by saying I think Captainsauce is generally one of the best YouTubers this platform has to offer. I know that's definitely biased in a lot of ways, but compared to all the other slop that's being produced every single day on this godforsaken platform, Captainsauce is definitely a breath of fresh air. Well, he doesn't upload nearly as much as he used to. He still averages a pretty decent chunk of viewers who are very dedicated, me included, and that's nice. So if Captainsauce somehow sees this video, I hope he's doing the best he can. And that's really just it. Now we can finally end this fucking video. Finally. You know, rewatching YouTubers I watched as a kid is like that one scene from The Incredibles where Bob is going through the checklist of all the heroes who were killed, who typically go down one of many paths. They stop uploading, they get cancelled, they're a terrible person, they want to diddle kids, they kill people, they become criminals, they ruin their life with alcohol, they get arrested multiple times, etc, etc, you know, just throwing some things out there. But hey, that's part of being a YouTuber. C'est la vie. But on a more serious note, looking back on YouTubers that I watched as a kid was most definitely an interesting experience, because oh man, most of these people fucking obnoxious as hell. But I also see why me, as a useless brain-dead, waste-of-space little cunt of a child, would enjoy this wacky and criminal ensemble of characters. There really was a little taste of everything here. There were AAA games, indie games, and even more obscure games that no one even heard about. Even a little bit of Fireball too. There was a little bit of everything. Growing up, it was very rare for me to watch YouTubers who weren't Let's Players. Very few YouTubers that weren't Let's Players have the privilege of being watched by me. A fucking privilege and a half, dog. And now, as I've grown up, I don't really watch YouTube as much as I used to, and I definitely don't watch gaming YouTubers as much as I used to. If you told me to explain what I watched on YouTube nowadays, I wouldn't really know what to say, because I don't really watch anything, and that kind of scares me, because I know YouTube probably isn't gonna last much longer, and that's kind of sad, because all those videos and all those YouTubers I watched as a kid will just one day disappear, like everything else that once made me happy. Ugh, shizer. Good night, ladies and gentlemen.
Hi, Mom, you got me to start playing Fortnite.